All right, well, this is where we now cross over to Peter. He's at another one of our SABC New Age breakfast briefings. Today it's taken place in Umhlanga with Senzo Mchunu, who is, of course, the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, and they're going to be unpacking the State of the Province address for 2016. Peter, a very good morning to you, and good morning to your guests as well.
A very good morning to you, Leanne, and good morning to everybody watching across the country on SABC2, and for the many people in South Africa and beyond watching on Channel 404 on DSTV. Yeah, we're in KwaZulu-Natal today, and you'll have seen and you will see that this is a busy time for the provinces. The President delivered his State of the Nation address, and the Premiers have since been delivering their State of the Provinces address. And today we speak to the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, who delivered his State of the Province address yesterday, and people have been reacting to it. A lot of issues came through and a lot of plans about what is going to happen in the future and to deal with some of the challenges that the province has been dealing with. Much like the budget speech that we heard earlier in the week, we are in a very difficult time economically, globally, and also nationally. And I guess that trickles down to the province. So we'll unpack that and some of the challenges that that presents. But also because KwaZulu-Natal is an agricultural province as well. The drought has been another significant issue that we'll unpack. And always education as well, very important to developing knowledge, skill in this province. We'll unpack that and more as we discuss with the Premier. So you can be part of that conversation as well at Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle, or on hashtag TNABizBrief, that's B-I-Z, hashtag TNABizBrief at Morning Live SABC. We'll pick up your comments and we'll get questions answered for you in real time. But let's say good morning to our guests that are going to help us chart our way forward, unpack that speech, and get to answer some of your questions. As we say, a very good morning to you, the Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, the Honourable Senzo Mchunu. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Peter. Good morning to my colleagues in the executive and my colleagues in the legislature and all the people of KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Fantastic. Now, next to you, we have the heads of the Secretariat of the KwaZulu-Natal Planning Commission, Mr. Fruki Brooks. Thank you so much for joining us. And we look forward to hearing how the provincial development plans feeding into the national development plan and how the province is moving forward. Progress made to date, because I think that is probably the key. What have we done and what lies ahead? But Premier, if I could start with you. Your State of the Province address was 31 pages long, and we're going to ask you to try and condense that into a few sentences. Just to give us, in essence, what was your message to the province yesterday?
Well, first is to indicate to the people of the province that the issues of low economic growth that we're experiencing worldwide and in the country, and therefore in this province, is real. And that has a direct impact on our fiscus as the state and therefore as the province. And perhaps I should add, even as municipalities, and therefore as households, and at the end of the day, as individuals in the province. No one is safe, no one is immune on the situation. And then the third point is that it coincides with terrible drought in our province and in some parts of this country, but we're talking about KwaZulu-Natal. You must know there's drought in this province when even a municipality like eThekwini, which is normally wet, is this dry. And if you go to the rivers, especially in the north of the province, you can actually play soccer in most of our rivers in the north. And this is a very challenging situation indeed to all of us in KwaZulu-Natal, and it calls on all of us to do certain things in a different way that talks and responds to the actual real situation. But on top of that, I want to add that it shouldn't be regarded as doom and gloom, and it's like this is the end of the day. I think we must respond in a manner that says We now understand the situation. It requires us to act with caution, especially at the level of government. It's going to constrain us a little bit. But we want to assure the people out there that when it comes to government services, we are leaving no stone unturned. We are making sure that we are delivering optimally insofar as the constraints allow us. Well, it does say that where you were going to build a road, say 100 kilometers, you now have to cut a little bit and maybe build 60 of that. You were going to build 15 schools, you may have to cut 2 or 3. So we are going to deliver, but perhaps the extent to which we will do it as a result of the kind of situation that is prevailing will tend to be a little bit lower than what we wanted, but delivery is going to come. People in critical government services, there's no way you can provide half a bottle of medicine, or you will have to provide the whole of that. There's no way you can deliver half a lesson to kids in the schools. You'll have to deliver all of that. So some of the aspects of life in the province are going to be much more constrained than the others, but others are just going to go on as normal. And I want to end up by saying at this stage that we have to be united, we have to work together, we have to make sure that all our problems are sorted out. We will go through this situation, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if South Africa went through the whole period of apartheid and at some point we had a breakthrough, we cannot have a breakthrough on this very one. We are going to have a breakthrough.
All right, we'll unpack in much more detail as the conversation unfolds. But in broad terms, I want to give you this opportunity now to say, okay, this is what I said in 2015. Yeah. What have you been able to achieve?
Well, we sometimes there's an assumption that government and politicians just when they talk, they just make a list of promises. It's not the case. When you go to people and you talk to people, they themselves, the citizens of this country, will tell you their wish list. They will tell you, we want a road there, we want a clinic there, we want this there, we want this there. So the issue of wishes is upon us. You have your own wishes. Your children have their own wishes, but nobody's blaming them. Now, why blame politicians that they have? Because they express the wishes of the people. There's no way we can talk to people in Umlazi and they say they want electricity and we say that's your wish list. We don't. So I'm then saying, we spelled out in 2015 in the State of the Province Address a number of things that we saw were urgent and were important at that time, going forward, of course. And among them, it was to build the economy, because this has been with us for quite some time. You will remember that in 2009, after elections, there were 5 priorities that were spelled out by the President of the Republic for all of us in the provinces and national. It was jobs, and jobs come from a growing economy. And therefore, indirectly, we're saying we are going to grow the economy of this country and of this province, such that it is able to create jobs. We had a misfortune in the past where our economy, 2005, 2006, was actually at a very nice promising growing rate, 5%, 6%, but it was shedding jobs, and it was a contradiction. Now we realize in 2009 that there may have been a problem in terms of the quality of our economic growth. And therefore, one of the things that have been spelled out as a result of that was to emphasize on things that actually build the economy of this country, other than relying on transactions and any other thing with the globe. Hence, your infrastructure. Now, how have we responded, for instance? What did we say then? We said we're going to, like President Jacob Zuma had spelled out, we are going to make sure that the National Development Plan, which has been generally accepted, we are going to translate it into and adapt it into our conditions in the province. And therefore, we established our own PGDP, which is our Provincial Growth and Economic Plan, Economic Development and Growth Plan. Now we have it. We have it now working very, very, very smoothly, which we promised in 2009, and then in that scope we have been able to do so. But as far as infrastructure, which is one of the pillars there is concerned, you will know that there is a presidential infrastructure plan nationally. And what we did here is in the Premier's office, we established our own infrastructure team, which is chaired by MSc Mabiakulu, and there is also the MSc for Works. And they then have a secretariat in order a management team, just to make sure that we focus such that if there's a dam that is being built somewhere, they must monitor it up to the end. We no longer want to be in the mode of doing things and then 5-7 years later, the thing is left like that and so on. So we're focused on infrastructure as one of the building blocks of that economy. But also major projects. We are working hand in glove with our national government. First, we have the fortune of having 2 ports in the province, which is unlike other provinces. And we want to say we've developed an approach that says, much as this is the responsibility of national government, but we're going to play a very, very active role, almost an approach that say this is ours, and we have to make sure that these assets are used and developed optimally, partly for the benefit of the people of KwaZulu-Natal, but we also have an airport, which is a very, which is a blessing, I must say so. It's something that we are using optimally, and we have a plan, a comprehensive plan that we're following along Durban Trade Port, Erythropolis, and all of that. But we also are developing tourism. I'm telling you, we're not where we were last year as a result of some of the strategies, as a result of our master plan on tourism. And therefore, most of our plans, let me say so, carved after the National Development Plan, are at various stages of implementation. And therefore, for us, it is the implementation. And what we were reporting on yesterday is, at most, how far we have gone, rather than what is it that we're going to start doing afresh.
All right, okay, I'm glad you talked about implementation, because a tweet from ANC Info Feed says we've passed the stage of promises. People need service delivery. They're tired of promises. And Mr. Brooks, we're going to take a quick break, but after the break, we're going to start to find out, how this plan is going to fulfill those promises. More detail on that when we come back after the break. And don't forget, at Morning Live SABC, that's our Twitter handle. Start sending in your tweets and get your questions through.